Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night. Depends on where you're listening from, depends on where you're watching from. This is Canyouth Exploration, your topic in the podcast. I am Dr. Canute White. Today, I'll be talking to the sister of another Jamaican youth who this person had an accident and he was left paralyzed, and he needs your help in terms of getting his medical expenses um, together, sorted out for that matter, right? And we should be our brother's keeper, right? I always say that anything can happen to any of us. It doesn't matter where we're from, our social status for that matter. So, therefore, when our brothers need help, then why not? Let's help them. Recently, in fact, I'm reaching out to you from Bronx at this time in New York, but usually we are located in Florida. But reaching out from Bronx just now. Just 2 days ago, I guess it was 2 days ago. There was a fire in the Bronx. Now they have the figure as 17 persons killed during that fire. 7 of those persons, children. They are children. My thing is that you just never know what will happen. So we have to support each other. And now this brother, Romario Manning, need your help. Those of you in the diaspora, the Jamaican diaspora, reach out and help this brother. I'll be talking to his sister, and during the interview, you will know where and how to assist this brother. I'm going to let his sister in, Nyoka Manning. Nyoka, I get it right, Nyoka?
Hi, could you repeat?
Nyoka, that's your name?
Yes,
Yeah.
Nyoka.
Okay. Nyoka Manning. Welcome to Canyouth Exploration. You're on topic of the podcast. I am
Thank you
Dr.
so much
Canute
for
White.
having me.
Yeah, man. What I'd like to know though, before we go into the incident, an account of what happened. Who is your brother? Talk to us about your brother. Who is a Romario Manning?
Okay, so Romario Manning is my brother. We are 5 years apart. We grew up together in one household with the same mother, same father. Now, my brother and I are like best friends.
Yeah, that's good.
We used to fight a lot together in primary school, although that's not
Even
a good
rivalry.
thing.
Yeah.
That's not a good thing. But anytime anybody picked on me in primary school, he used to defend me. And anytime anybody picked on him in primary school, I used to defend him. Little me. Because I was in grade one and he was in grade six. So I even remember this incident where this girl was bullying me and he was so upset about it that he went and was being aggressive to the girl. And then I remember another situation where he was being pinned on the ground by a
Oh,
guy and I
yeah.
jumped on the guy and trying to put in some hits to get him off my brother. And that's the relationship we had. The teachers wanted us to
Yeah.
be separated, him to go to high school so that we can be apart, because that's the bond we had. We stuck it out with each other.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the relationship we have.
Cool.
And we used to fight a lot in the home to like with ourselves, and my mom used to hate it, and we used to say, "Mommy, we're siblings, we're supposed to fight. Just leave, we make we fight it out." And then love used to
Yeah.
fade. But yeah,
Sibling rivalry.
yes, so that's us. That has always been us. So to see him be in this situation right now, it's very heartbreaking. It's very heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But the love that we have for each other, it's what is keeping us today. So he draws from my strength, I pull from his strength. Because even though he's in this situation, he's really strong and he's really a fighter.
Yeah.
He's
And
a
I
strong
saw
and
that.
hardworking person.
Cool.
He's a
I
very
saw
strong
that
and
love
hardworking
between.
person.
I saw that love between both of you really, because there's a photo that I will show later. You were there with him in the hospital. You stick with him, and that's cool. Tell me about the incident. What happened?
It's not an incident that I love to recall,
Yeah.
but because it's a nightmare, honestly. But
Right.
I was at work, and because I work at a media house,
Yeah.
so I was at work and I heard the call. Tiffany, because that's my pet name at home.
Okay.
Tiffany,
Cool.
your brother is dead. I'm like,
Yeah.
what? What are you saying to me? They
Yeah.
didn't call to say he met in an accident.
Yeah.
He's unconscious or anything. They said your brother is dead. And
Yeah.
at that moment, I dropped the phone. I started crying, and then my supervisor saw that I was crying, and he said to me, he called me outside, and he said, "What happened?" I told him that they said my brother died, and I started having panic attack and everything, and they had to give me water and everything. So when now I called my mom, she said they called her too, and she's going by the hospital because they say he's being transported to the hospital. So my mom lives close by, so she says she's going to visit to see what happened because she don't know what happened because them same dead, some same unconscious. So she's like, all right, me go see what happened. So when I went there now, um, the some of our family members were telling us that he was riding his bicycle to a shop, and this driver in an unregistered and unlicensed car, he usually operates taxi as well. He's known for speeding, so he was driving on that same road that my brother was riding his bicycle on. And a man even said, "You know, him gonna hit somebody too, him a drive
Yeah.
fast." And so said, so done. As soon as as soon as he turned a blind corner, he hit my brother from behind off his bicycle. And my
Wow.
brother flipped over the car. The car even flipped over as well. So it was an
Yeah.
extreme accident. So my brother fell off his bicycle, broke his neck, broke his spine, damaged his spine, broke his leg. He had a head injury, which he suffered from short-term memory loss. And when we got to the hospital, he gained consciousness, and he was like, "Mommy, mommy, what happened? Where daddy there? Where Tiffany there? What happened?" And as soon as he said that, he would fall into an unconscious state, and then as soon as he woke up back, he would not remember that mommy was there or I was there.
Okay.
So we had to keep reminding him that we're here, we were here, mommy they here, Tiffany they here. So it was really very traumatic because he wouldn't remember anything, and we just wanted him to know that we were there for him. We are there.
Yeah.
So that is really what happened. The driver knows my brother, so he said, because we have been in contact with him, but we have been getting little to no help because his car is unregistered, unlicensed, so we
Okay.
cannot get any funds from that.
Yeah.
And he's not working at the moment because, and we decided not to press any charges because my brother is
Um,
very forgiving. My brother said, "Don't fight him on this.
yeah.
Accidents happen.
Okay.
It could have happened to anybody.
Yeah.
Don't fight him on this. Just try and work with the family to see what you can get out of them, but don't bring it to no court. Don't." That My brother said, "I forgive him," and the driver even called and he
Yeah.
cried and he said, he's so sorry to know that he hit my brother Mario, because we call him Mario. He's
Okay.
so sorry to know that he hit my brother, and um he was having suicidal thoughts because he's saying that I'd rather to kill myself than to know that I killed an innocent youth, somebody who is so
Yeah.
loving and hardworking and everything. And that really touched us because we're saying we don't want him to go and commit suicide over something like
Right.
this. So we
Yeah.
had to be the bridge, the gap, to bridge the
Yeah.
gap and say, no, two lives cannot be weighing on our hands at this
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah. And you know, I am happy that your brother is still alive. It's a great thing, right? And it shows the character of your brother when he asks you guys just rested, you know, quote. And I love that sort of character. It shows who your brother really is, you know. I'm Dr. Canute White. You're listening to Canute Exploration. Your topic in the podcast, talking to the brother, sorry, the sister of Romario. Manning, right? And you're Nyoka.
Yes.
Nyoka, I want to know what is his health challenges? What are his health challenges? What's going on with him health wise?
Okay, so he has been in the hospital for 6 months now, going seven from June. The accident happened on June 5th. So he he's coming from a very far away because I remember when our prayer list used to be so long to God, asking him,
Yeah.
God, please get rid of this, God, please heal this. So some of the things that, so I'm just gonna give you a timeline of what
Okay.
happened occurred
Yeah.
over the 6 months.
Yeah.
So the first thing was that the problem we had, he was admitted to the Maypen Hospital in Clarendon. They did not have an intensive care unit for him. So I had to reach out to the media, every media I could, and every government official I knew to try and get him transferred to the University of the West Indies
Yeah.
ICU. He was not transferred until 4 days time, and I always say this, that it's a biblical reference because
Yeah.
God is 4 days late, but he's still
Yeah.
on time. He was
Right.
still on time for my brother.
Yeah.
When my brother was transferred to the hospital, his heart stopped. That's the first time his
Oh.
heart stopped because the transfer was so long, because he was supposed to be transferred by an helicopter,
Yeah.
but they had to transfer him by an ambulance. So that really dropped his heart rate. So his heart stopped for the first time
Yeah.
that night when he was
Yeah.
transferred. Then after that, no, his memory came back. So he was retaining his memory because enough oxygen. So after they resuscitated him and everything,
Yeah.
um, they put him on oxygen. So enough oxygen was reaching his brain to allow him to remember things. So when he was at Maypen Hospital, his breathing fell because he was breathing on his own when he got there. But
Yeah.
because they did not have the intensive care for him, it ruptured his breathing artery, so he
Oh.
cannot breathe off his
Yeah.
own even up to now. He's breathing a little. He made some improvements, so he's
Yeah.
breathing a little, but he's still on oxygen. That's why he's still in the hospital.
Okay.
So after that, after he regained memory now, he still has no recollection of how the accident happened. He does not remember it at all. Um, his heart stopped over 10 times. Over 10 times his heart stopped. And um, I never used to believe in dreams and everything, but
Yeah.
then a family member called us and said she dreamed that my aunt who died
Yeah.
was calling for my brother. So it's like my auntie was trying to get him over there, but we're like,
Yeah.
no, no, no. But he was screaming, auntie, no, 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 auntie, you cannot get him. And she even
Yeah.
said in the dream that my grandmother who died said we have to send him back, let him go.
Okay. Yeah.
So yes, I was like, no, auntie, you cannot get him. We're not giving you him. No, you cannot get
Yeah. Yeah.
so even when we were at the Maypen Hospital, the doctors were saying if he does not get a transfer within this time, he's going to die. They even said he was deteriorating. I remember vividly they called us in one night
Yeah.
and they said they they placed him in um inducive coma, an
Yeah.
induced coma, to try and help him to breathe because he's fighting to breathe, so they didn't want him to rupture his neck anymore. So they called us in like he was, we're not going to see him the next day. They called us in that we're not going to see him the next day because we didn't get the transfer. So they called us in like we're not going to see him the next day. They say or basically they were telling us to say our last words. And my mom and I were there and we were praying and we were calling him and saying Mario, Mario, and he wouldn't answer us because he was in the coma.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually, when he got transferred to the ICU at UE, he woke up and he remembered us and was retaining his memory. So from there now, he had a temporary pacemaker surgery for his heart because his heart
Okay.
was stopping constantly. And I remember a doctor even said to my mom, I need to speak to the mom for this young
Yeah.
man because if his heart continues to stop one day, he will not wake up.
Okay.
And honestly, we felt that our hearts and our community. I reached out to, I mean, our Jamaican community,
Yeah.
everybody who was praying here and abroad.
Yeah.
I mean, we have to thank them for their prayers because God really worked out for us. Now he's maintaining his own heart rate. They took out the temporary pacemaker for him. So he's coming from a very far away, and it's a miracle God fused his neck bones and his leg bones so he didn't have to do surgery. Because I remember when the doctor called me one day and she gave me a long paper for me to read, and she was giving me all the things that his body is going through. He has an infection in his body that is preventing him from doing surgery. And if he does not do surgery, this will happen, this will happen. And the last thing on the paper was that the surgery might cause death. And that's when I broke down in tears and I cried. And she said to me, I know it's hard. I know you're going to school. I know you're going to university. And I know it's hard. But, sorry,
that's all right. That's okay. That's okay.
Yes. And she said, I know it's hard, but I wanted to go in there and be strong for him. And I went in there, I dried my tears, and I said, you're going to be okay. You're going to make it out, and you're going to come back, and you're going to smile, and everything. And it so happened that his bones fused back on its own, so he didn't have to do any surgery. So we have to thank God and all the people who prayed for him for that.
Yeah.
Now, the situation now is he's out of ICU, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
But he's not out of the hospital. He's on the regular ward, because he's still on oxygen, so he cannot breathe on his own. So that's the issue we're having with him now, and he still has no movement. I don't like to say paralyzed, but I know that's the word for it. But I don't like to say it because it's like I'm pronouncing it on him.
Yeah,
and I don't want to pronounce that on him. So for now, he's not moving, so he cannot help himself. So he's having a bit of difficulty.
Okay. So what's the prognosis? Say you get the help, right?
Yeah.
And things go well. Whatever he has to do, it will be done. Will he be able to walk again eventually? What are you hearing from the doctors?
Okay, so the doctors told us that he has 1% chance of walking. They said that he came to the hospital paralyzed, and they're not God, so they cannot say they'll make him walk again. So he has 1% chance of walking again. But I always say, along with my family and my mom especially, that 1% is enough for God to turn around and do a miracle for him. He will walk again, and we believe that he will walk again. He believes he'll walk again also, because he says he's not worried about not walking again. He's not worried about being paralyzed. He says he just wants to get out of the hospital. He wants to just come home, and worry about that afterwards. But he says he's not worried about being paralyzed.
And then I'd like to declare as well, from Canute Exploration, that he will walk again, right? I believe as well, right? And we just have to have that faith and hope, that it will happen. All right. So we stand with you with that. Tell me something. What's the current medical expenses? What's going on with that now? What the figures are?
To be honest, the ICU bill is over $6 million.
And we're talking Jamaica. I love to say that. So Jamaican dollars.
Yes.
All right.
$6 million Jamaican dollars. Yeah. Now that he's out of the ICU, what he really needs now is a sitter to take care of him at night, because he's assigned a nurse now for the daytime, but we have to pay a nurse every night for him for her to take care of him. So it's really costly to work that out for a month. That's over 100,000 Jamaican dollars, even 200 Jamaican dollars. So it's really hard on us now. So we're trying to seek any help we can get, even if it's $2, 2 shillings, anything. Where little is much, God is in it. So
I love that. So we can help the Jamaican diaspora. Look, I'm Dr. Canute White from Canute Exploration, and I'm asking the Jamaican diaspora in UK, United States, Canada, wherever you are across the world, to assist. There is we'll talk about it later. There is a link in the description of this episode that takes you into the Canyouth Foundation. We're trying also to have some fundraising for this young Jamaican. We'll talk about that short, but we want you to assist. And Nyoka is saying anything that you have, putting it together will make a great sum in order to reach a faraway in a system. How about medication?
Um, he gets a prescription weekly, even not weekly, probably daily, to
Oh,
fill, especially for there's this thing called Ascaril for his throat because he has a tracheostomy inserted in his
yeah,
throat for him to
yeah,
breathe. He has cold resting on his chest, so we have to fill that prescription weekly, if not twice a week.
yeah,
And there are other things too, like for his leg,
yeah.
ointment for his leg. We have for his head, ointment for his head, and
Okay,
other things just to keep him going. So there are medical expenses plus the sitter. There are just a lot of things that we have to cover for him.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I, you know, I want to let the listeners know, those who are listening from their favorite podcast platform, we're showing some clips, some pictures really of Romario, but you're not able to see it. He is in the hospital. He has this neck brace around him. Describe how he looks in the hospital the last time you saw him.
Okay, so the last time he has a tracheostomy in his throat currently. So and he has a cast on his foot. But before he used to have a neck brace on his neck that he used
Okay.
to complain about so much because they had to keep his neck in place. He also had a I don't remember what it's called. I think it's a some traction. Yeah, it's a head traction that they used
Okay.
to use
Right.
to
Yeah.
stretch his head. They use a bag of water and put it down on a chain thingy and attach it to his head to stretch it so that the bones could
Oh.
set back. So that's what they were doing, and it used to be heavy on his head, and he used to say it hurts and everything. So it's really coming from a far away. The tube used to be in his throat and not in his neck, so he couldn't eat. Only ensure he could get through the food drip, and also his throat would be sore at times, and even his mouth here where they used to rest the tube used to get blisters and everything, and because he
Okay.
had the infection it wouldn't heal properly. So now he's able to eat, thank God.
Oh
He even
yeah.
went for
Cool.
KFC a couple of days ago, and I was so happy to give him KFC. So
Yeah.
um so he has come a far way, and people have helped, and we're so grateful to those
Yeah.
people who have helped. And he's right there to come out of hospital. We just need a little more help to
Yeah.
get him out of hospital. His birthday is on the 30th of January. That's in a couple weeks. We are both born in January. So again,
Cool.
that's why we're so close. My
Yeah. Yeah.
birthday is tomorrow. So
Happy birthday when it comes.
thank you. And he really said he wanted to be there. He thought he would have been out to be there.
Yeah.
So I just don't want him to be. Hopefully he's not in the hospital by the time his birthday comes. So we're
Yeah. Yeah.
trying to give him the best help, the best services there is to get him out of the
Yeah,
hospital.
and even when he gets out, he's going to need the support. I just want people to understand that he's going to need that support. He's still ill, he's still
Yeah.
sick, so he want that sort of support still. Uh, Canyouth Foundation basically try to help by setting up a fund, something like a GoFund, on the Real Helping Hand LLC platform, and Nyoka knows about it, and we are trying to get as much funding as possible to this young Jamaican, and we'll pass it on to Nyoka and the family, as soon as we get some stuff together in there. So look in the link. In this description, you'll see a link as it relates to Canyouth Foundation. Click on that link, and it will take you to um, a source where you can contribute, make some donation. And this is not a scam. We are doing this to help support this Nyoka, and we are saying it before her so she knows about it. But Nyoka, I know that his father had served in the military, right?
Yes.
So he was a. I'm saying this because you know his father had served this country. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah,
Yes.
that is critical. That is important, and we just want to mention that. But I'd like to find out from you, are there any other campaign? You mentioned something about persons have been helping. You want to say thanks, to those persons, tell us what sort of help you have been getting.
Yes. So when the incident happened, well, the accident happened,
Yeah,
I reached out to government officials and I
yeah,
reached out to um media outlets. So like the Gleaner, the Observer, the Star, all of them posted my brother's story. I also spoke to CBM News. They also produced my brother's story as well.
yeah,
So I really have to thank them because they got the message out there to people who didn't know him and were touched by his story. Also, I had set up a GoFundMe for him, and persons donated to us. So I really have to thank them for that. Um, and there were other people in our community and other people who were just touched and wanted to reach out. So they gave us money in hand, or they gave supplies for him like pampers and wipes, those little stuff. So I really have to thank everybody because they were the ones who allowed us to have it a little bit easier. So I'm really grateful to those people, and I just want to say a big, big thank you. And I
right.
hope the Lord bless them in more ways than
Yeah,
one.
yeah. Yeah, and I from Canute Exploration, I'd like to say thanks as well for supporting Nyoka's brother and the family. But I'd also like to say that in the description of this episode, there are also links to the newspaper reports, right? I put them there so that those listening, those watching can click on those links to get further information. Things we might not have mentioned here, and it's in the newspaper, and you might be able to click on those links and see what's going on. Your social media anger, Nayoka, the Instagram you're on, right?
Yes, it's underscore ny underscore dot underscore. So it's underscore 99 underscore dot underscore, and I'm on Facebook at Nyoka Manning.
Okay, I love that. I
Yes.
love that. Right? So persons
One
can,
thing though, doctor, I forgot to
yeah,
mention is
okay.
that my brother also needed blood transfusion.
Oh,
So my because his blood count was low. So I am in university. I attend the
yeah,
University of the West Indies. I'm in my
yeah,
final year, and my
cool.
final semester coming up now. So hopefully I graduate. I always my mom always say I worry about a lot of things, and God always bring me through things because I
Yeah,
always used to
cool.
say, Mommy, I said to her, Mommy, I don't know if I'm going to graduate this year,
Yeah, brother.
And she's like, You're always worrying and worrying, and say God is going to find a way for you. So I have to
Yeah,
thank her for being my motivation. I also have to thank the people who donated because I reached out to some of my peers on Hall and at the
yeah,
University
cool.
of the West Indies, and they really came out and donated blood to my brother. So I have to thank them also for donating their blood.
Okay, so is it that you are, you still need blood, so to speak?
No,
Oh,
no, he doesn't
yeah.
need blood right now. Yeah.
Okay, fine, fine. But I hope that whenever, if ever, I'm hoping that that time
Yeah.
comes around, people will also reach out to you. Hey, it's such a pleasure talking to you, and I hope that this broadcast, this episode, will trigger persons to donate so that your brother could get some assistance, and to sort of bring his life back together again, right? Get him out of the hospital and back into the home where you still need services, but
Yeah.
we'll be okay. And I know you get emotional about the whole thing. You are a good sister. I saw you in the hospital with him, right? And the pictures, and it's really touching, right? But you'll get by. Just keep the faith, and we are here to support you as much as possible, and I will keep in touch with you. Okay.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much.
All right. Take care. Bye bye.
Okay, bye.
That was Nyoka Manning. Her brother, you have heard the story, is in hospital and he needs your assistance to get him out of the hospital. Even after getting out, he will still need that sort of support. You in the diaspora, Jamaicans in the diaspora, not even, well, if you are not even Jamaicans and you are touched by the story, you're led to assist. Yeah, assist this young Jamaican who need your assistance. The description, in the description, there's a link to have you um, make some contribution through Canyouth Foundation. I thank you too from Canyouth Exploration, your topic in the podcast. I am Dr. Canute White. Goodbye.